Champ now. Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Champ?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talking. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, crazy. One time during my career, I bombed a bomber one tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it, can't get enough of it. Salute to Miss Cass. Without her, none of this would be possible. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cat Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, highlights of boxing history. How's the family today? It's Tuesday. Still very early in this big week of boxing history. We're going to have another episode of Highlights of Boxing History. Just look at a few different things about boxing history. Today we're going to review the greatest fighters of each decade briefly. We're going to look at some of the most hyped fights in boxing history today. We're going to look at some of the most overrated fighters of all time. And then we're going to go to 1900 to 1909 and do a profile on some fighters from that era. We're not going to talk about Jack Johnson or Joe Yan, Sam Langford, any of those guys. We're going to talk about some fighters that we don't normally talk about. We're going to talk about the Attell brothers more in depth. Yesterday, we highlighted they were the first brothers to hold world championships simultaneously in boxing history. We're going to talk about them a little bit deeper today. Abe and Monty Attell. All that today on Cast Sports, the Box Historian, bringing you all that boxing history. And of course, we're going to have our fighters today. But it's the Cast Sports without the fight of the day. Just a fight from the past. But how's everybody this Tuesday afternoon, early in the week? All things boxing history here. What's happening this weekend? Let's take a quick look at that before we get started. See who's in action this weekend coming at us. What is this weekend, the 21st? Let's look at what we got on the schedule coming up for this weekend. In one moment. Okay. And then we're going to get started with our fighters today. Quick look at the schedule for this weekend. See who's in action. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, Friday, got a fight coming from Ireland. Michael Conlan, Kevin Walsh. Okay. And then on Saturday from Orlando, Florida, Carlos Adames in action. It's Austin Ammo Williams. All right. Omari Jones on that card is Christian Gomez. So Carlos Adames defending his title. And then also Saturday from San Bernardino, California, Lester Martinez back in action. I thought him and Adames should have had the rematch, but I'm not Adames, I'm Billy. But Martinez is in action this weekend against Emmanuel Lee. And that's the two main cards for this weekend. Carlos Adames headlining one card, and then Lester Martinez headlining the card. But next weekend is Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman. So that's next weekend. Next week will be fight week for that. All right. And that's the big one. So that's the one we've been looking forward to. Okay, so let's get ready to get started with our fight of the day now then. Just wanted to take a quick look at what's happening this weekend, early in the week, what we're in fight week for. Okay, Carlos Adames, Lester Martinez headlining cards this weekend. Okay, let's get ready to go to our fighters today then. Okay, so now without further ado, today's fight of the day. Okay, today's fight of the day is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. July 29th, 2023. From showdown to beatdown. From showdown to beatdown. Crawford Spence. All right, fighters of the day. Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford was contested at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. In this fight, reigning WBO welterweight champion Terrence Crawford with an undefeated record of 39-0, defeated reigning WBC, WBA, and IBF welterweight champion Earl the Truth Spence Jr., also coming in undefeated at 28-0 by 9th round TKO, dropping Spence 3 times. Crawford's victory unified all 4 major welterweight titles and marked him as the first male boxer in the 4-belt era to become undisputed champion in 2 weight divisions, having previously achieved defeat at junior welterweight. The highly anticipated super fight had been in discussions for years, stemming from both fighters' dominance in the welterweight division and their undefeated streaks, with negotiations finally concluding in early 2023 after the previous obstacles, including Spence's 2022 car accident and mandatory defense obligations. Billed as a clash between 2 of boxing's pound-for-pound elite, the event drew significant attention for its potential to crown an undisputed champion and featured a star-studded undercard, including fights like Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Eduardo Estrella. Crawford controlled the fight from the outset, using superior footwork, counterpunching, and power to outland Spence significantly. Crawford landed 185 of 369 punches for 50.1%, compared to Spence's 96 of 480 for 20%. Before the referee stopped the fight at 2 minutes 32 seconds of the 9th round after Crawford's devastating body-head combinations. And I mean devastating body-head combinations. In the aftermath, Spence exercised his contractual rematch clause shortly after the fight, expressing interest in a second fight, potentially at 154 pounds, to accommodate his recovery from injuries sustained, including effects from the knockdowns. But the rematch did not materialize within the clause's time frame, leading to its expiration in early 2024 amid Spence's need for cataract eye surgery and Crawford's pursuit of other opportunities, such as vacating welterweight titles and moving up in weight. Rematch never materialized. Now, Crawford went on to defeat Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision in September 2025 to become the undisputed super middleweight champion, while Spence, following surgery, is preparing for a ring return with training support from Roy Jones Jr. The original fight remains a landmark event in modern boxing, often hailed for Crawford's masterful performance and its role in elevating his status as one of the sport's all-time greats. Okay, let's look at a little background on the fighters now before we get to the fight. A little background. First, Earl Spence Jr. Fight of the day, Terence Crawford versus Earl Spence. Little background profile on the 2 fighters first. Earl Spence Jr., born on March 3rd, 1990 in Long Island, New York, entered the pro ranks in 2012 after a distinguished amateur career where he won 3 consecutive United States national championships in the welterweight division, 2009, 2010, and 2011, and represented the United States at the 2012 London Olympics, reaching the quarterfinals. As a southpaw, Spence is renowned for his aggressive pressure fighting style, characterized by relentless forward movement, high-volume punching, and effective body work that breaks down opponents over the course of a fight. Heading into his July 2023 matchup with Crawford, Spence maintained an undefeated professional record of 28-0 with 22 knockouts. holding the unified WBC, WBA, and IBF welterweight titles. His notable victories included a unanimous decision over 4-division champion Mikey Garcia in 2019, a split decision against former champion Shawn Porter later that same year, and a 10th round TKO of Yordenis Ugas in 2022 to claim the WBA belt. Okay, let's take a look at Bud now. Then we're going to get to the fight. Take a look at Bud. Terence Crawford, born on September 28, 1987 in Omaha, Nebraska, turned pro in 2008, following an accomplished amateur tenure that included a 58-12 record and multiple national titles, such as the 2006 National Police Athletic League Championships and bronze at the 2006 United States National Championships in the lightweight division. A versatile switch hitter who primarily fights from the southpaw stance, but seamlessly alternates to orthodox for tactical advantages, Crawford excels in counterpunching, adaptability, and precise timing, often exploiting opponents' aggression with devastating counter shots. Prior to the 2023 Spence fight, he held an impeccable 39-0 record with 30 knockouts and was the reigning WBO welterweight champion. Key wins in his welterweight run featured a 4th-round stoppage of Kell Brook in 2020, a 9th-round knockout of Aegis Kavalauskas in 2019, a 6th-round TKO of Amir Khan in 2019, and a 10th-round stoppage of Shawn Porter in 2021. Physically, the two fighters presented a close matchup. Spence stood at 5 feet 9.5 inches with a 72-inch reach, while Crawford measured 5 feet 8 with a slight edge in reach at 74 inches at the time of the fight. Spence was 33 years old and Crawford 35. The amateur foundations, Spence's national dominance and Olympic experience contrasted with Crawford's multiple U.S. championships, underscored their tactical prowess, setting the stage for a clash of elite, undefeated welterweight talents. Okay, so now let's get to the fight then. And remember, this fight was the same week where we had the other beatdown, Naoya Inoue over Stephen Coolboy Fulton. All of this was the same week. Nobody saw these. Anybody say they saw these two beatdowns are just straight up lying, okay? Everybody thought it was going to be two good fights. I've heard people say that, well, I knew Crawford was going to dominate Spence, and I knew Inoue was going to beat Coolboy like that. I didn't tell them to their face, but they are liars. Nobody foresaw these two beatdowns in the same week. Come on, man. Let's get to the fight now. Crawford Spence. They just lied. Nobody foresaw both of these fights being one-sided beatdowns like they ended up being. Now, the fight began with Earl Spence Jr. advancing aggressively in the first round, using his jab to target Terence Crawford's body, while Crawford, fighting orthodox, maintained distance with his own jab and occasional counters to disrupt Spence's pressure. Spence's forward movement kept him in control early, but Crawford's precise jabbing prevented any significant power shots from landing cleanly. In the second round, Crawford switched to southpaw and caught Spence with a sharp left hook late in the frame, dropping him to the canvas for the first time in his career. Spence rose quickly and survived the round without further damage, though the knockdown signaled Crawford's adaptability. The third round saw Spence press forward in a brawl-like exchange, landing some combinations. But Crawford's quicker counters and footwork allowed him to land cleaner shots, shifting slight momentum as no knockdowns. The fifth round intensified Crawford's assault as he continued hammering the body while evading Spence's attempts at flurries, with the cut worsening and Spence struggling to find power behind his punches. By the sixth round, Spence mounted brief aggression with body shots of his own, but Crawford's evasion and counters maintained his edge, further wearing down the champion through sustained pressure through the midsection. Crawford's dominance peaked in the final rounds, overwhelming Spence's pressure with switch-hitting precision. In the seventh round, a counter right hand from Crawford dropped Spence to a knee, followed moments later by a devastating right hook for a second knockdown. Spence beat the count both times, but appeared visibly compromised. The eighth round saw Spence attempt a defensive recovery before pressing forward, only to absorb more punishment as Crawford continued his pace. In the ninth round, Crawford unleashed a barrage of unanswered shots, staggering Spence with a left hook that sent him stumbling into the ropes. Referee Harvey Dock intervened at 2 minutes 32 seconds of the round, stopping the fight as Spence, bloodied and unsteady, could no longer defend himself effectively. A true one-sided beatdown. Terrence Crawford defeated Errol Spence Jr. by TKO in the ninth round at 2 minutes 32 seconds, unifying all four major welterweight titles, the WBA, WBC, IBF, and the WBO, and becoming the undisputed champion. This victory marked Crawford as the first male boxer to hold undisputed championships in two weight divisions during the four-belt era, having previously achieved defeat as super lightweight. At the time of the stoppage, the three judges scored the fight 79-70, a shutout in Crawford's favor after 8 full rounds. CompuBox statistics highlighted Crawford's dominance as he outlanded Spence 185-96 in total punches, almost doubled him, with a 50% accuracy rate compared to Spence's 38%. Crawford also held a 98-63 edge in power punches. Errol Spence Jr. sustained facial cuts and significant swelling during the fight, but was medically cleared post-fight with no major injuries reported immediately. And there you have it, the fight of the day. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., and there's your winner, Terrence Bud Crawford. A one-sided beatdown. And I had picked Spence. Lost money to my wife, Miss Cass, in this fight. Still hearing about it 3 years later, almost. Yep. It was truly a one-sided beatdown. If I'd have picked Crawford against somebody, I would have been bragging too. Nobody foresaw that. Anybody saying they foresaw that is just lying. Okay? Just lying. Even if you pick Crawford, you didn't pick him like that. But Bud was truly dominant. Okay, let's get to the show today. We got a few different things. Highlights of boxing history show. Okay, is the old master Joe Gans, and that's battling Nelson. He was facing in that fight. That's the longest championship fight in boxing history, 42 rounds. The old master broke his hand in the 34th round and still continued his dominance throughout the fight. Battling Nelson fouled deliberately in the 42nd round because he knew the stoppage was imminent. He didn't want to get stopped, so he hit Joe low again and got disqualified after being warned and penalized earlier. He was penalized once, but he was warned numerous times for low blows. So he fouled out. But let's start out with take another look at the greatest fighters of each decade. Briefly, greatest fighters of each decade. That's what we're going to start out with. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to look at some different things throughout boxing history today. A few different subjects. We're going to look at the greatest fighter of each decade first, though. As I can get it to come up. Here we go. Okay, let's go. How's everybody this afternoon? It's Tuesday. Still early in this big, huge week of boxing history. That's Bob Fitzsimmons right there. We're going to start at 1890s and come all the way up to 2026. Greatest fighter of each decade. Okay? Starting in the 1890s. All the way up to now. Okay, from 1890 to 1899, the man on the screen right there, Bob Fitzsimmons. Bob Fitzsimmons, very brief, little discussions. Now, the great Fitzsimmons held early recognized versions of the middleweight and heavyweight titles, and regularly defeated much larger men with his ferocious power. Beat fellow legends, Jack Dempsey and Jim Corbett, to claim his middleweight and heavyweight crowns, respectively. And Bob Fitzsimmons, the man on the screen, is the first ever three-division world champion. The Fighting Blacksmith, Bob Fitzsimmons. Okay? From 1900 to 1909, best fighter of that decade, the old master, Joe Gans. And that's him and battling Nelson right there. Just talked about that. The old master on the right, best fighter from 1900 to 1909. Joe Gans, the old master. The greatest ever lightweight in many people's opinions. And well and truly, the old master. He was recognized as the lightweight champion of the world for the vast majority of the decade. Perhaps the most complete fighter in history. The old master, Joe Gans. 1900-1909. Looking at the best fighter for every decade. 1910 to 1919, the Boston Bone Crusher, Sam Langford. Sam Langford boasts a phenomenal record. And in this period alone, he recorded numerous knockout wins over much bigger men, including Sam McVeigh, Joe Jeanette, Harry Wills, Klondike Haynes, Gunbo Smith, Priman Jim Flynn, Battling Jim Johnson, and Philadelphia, Jack O'Brien. The Boston Bone Crusher, Sam Langford, 1910-1919. Okay. The best fighter for the 1920s, the Pittsburgh Windmill, Harry Greb. Pittsburgh Windmill, Harry Greb. Despite passing away a little over halfway through the decade, the Pittsburgh Windmill packed enough quality wins and achievements into the first half of the decade that few fighters in history have matched in a lifetime. Man only fought for half the decade. Okay? He boasts wins over Tommy Loughran, Tommy Gibbons, Gene Tunney, the Toy Bulldog, Mickey Walker, battling Levinsky, Mike Mateague, Jimmy Slattery, Kid Norfolk, Tiger Flowers, and many others. In the decade before, in 1919, Harry Greb fought 45 times and won every one of them, and fought many Hall of Famers during those 45, okay? Was fighting legitimate, big name fighters, 45-0 in 1919. And then, but for Sam Langford, he would have been the fighter of the 1910 to 1919 and the 1920s. But Sam Langford edged him out for 1910, 1919. But you couldn't deny Harry Greb for the 20s. And that was the decade where Jack Dempsey, Gene Tunney, Harry Wills, the Toy Bulldog, Mickey Walker, Jack Sharkey, all those guys fought. But Harry Greb was the best of them all. Okay, let's go to the 1930s. Homicide Hank. Here he is on the right throwing the punch. Best fighter for the 1930s. Homicide Hank. Henry Armstrong. Held the featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight titles at the same time during this decade. A feat which has never been matched. Possibly the most frenetic, aggressive, and relentless offensive fighter in the sport's history, and certainly one of its greatest. One of only a handful of fighters that can lay claim to be the greatest of them all. Okay, I got him number 4 all time, pound for pound behind Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Willie Pep. Number 4 is Homicide Hank. 1940 to 1949. Mr. Pound for Pound himself, Sugar Ray Robinson. Mr. Pound for Pound himself, Sugar Ray Robinson. Captured both the welterweight and middleweight titles in this decade and amassed an incredible record of 128 wins with just one defeat in this period, including being undefeated at his natural welterweight, generally seen as the best ever, Sugar Ray Robinson. Okay? He is the best ever fighter of all the fighters that's ever stepped into the squared circle. Sugar Ray Robinson is seen as the best ever. They say the pound for pound list was created for him, but you know, they was talking pound for pound before Sugar Ray Robinson even started fighting, so no. It wasn't named for him. Pound for pound list was out before him, but he could be the best ever pound for pound. I done missed a whole lot of people. Pero Sir. What's up, Pero? I wasn't paying attention. Pero Sir in the building. I mean, some real heavyweights, man. Technique in the building. What's up, Technique? I mean, some real heavyweights. Mike Ram. What's up, Mike? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was so into these best fighters of every decade, but wow. Heavyweights came in. Pero Sir, Technique, and Mike Ram. Salute, gentlemen. Here we talking about another Highlights of Boxing History show. A few different subjects. We starting out with the best of every decade. We're up to the 40s. The 40s, yeah. We go to the 50s. The old mongoose, Archie Moore. That's Archie. Good from the left. That's Ezra Charles, Harold Johnson, Archie Moore, Joe Louis in that picture there. Now, the ageless old mongoose cemented his light heavyweight legacy during the 50s. Although, at light heavyweight, he's got to be second to Ezra Charles because Ezra Charles beat him 3 times. There could be no doubt that the 50s belonged to Archie Moore, and he held the title there for the best part of the decade. And nobody knows how old he was. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Who knows? That's why they call him the old mongoose, Archie Moore. In the 60s, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. Him and Joe Frazier. He started off the decade by capturing Olympic gold before adding the world heavyweight title just a few years later. His success stretched well into the next decade. But yeah, definitely the standout fighter of the 60s. The 70s, the Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. The Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Systematically dominated the lightweight division for the entire decade before moving up to face Sugar Ray Leonard in 1980 and beat him. Okay? He suffered only one defeat in the 60s in over 50 fights at lightweight, in which he avenged 2 times by stoppage and made 12 successful defenses of his title. The Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Best fighter of the 70s. They talk about the golden age of the heavyweights, but the 70s belonged to Roberto Duran. It was the golden age of the heavyweights, but the best fighter in the 70s was Roberto Duran. And I saw it happen. I'm old enough to remember the 70s. And man, they was, who fighting Saturday? Roberto Duran fighting Saturday. Man, imagine that. Okay, let's go to the 80s. The Hands of Stone. That was the 70s. Okay. Okay, the 80s, Sugar Ray Leonard. Perhaps compiled the greatest modern era record by scoring wins over fellow all-time greats. Wilfredo Benitez, Roberto Duran, he cheated in the second fight, Thomas Hearns, and Marvin Hagler. 90s. He rushed Duran back in there. That was Duran's management's fault. They shouldn't have accepted that fight that soon. But when Duran quit, he was still well in the fight. I don't know why he quit. Sugar Ray was only ahead. It was either 1 point on one card and 2 points on two, or 2 points on one card and 1 point on two. With 8 rounds to go, still had a great chance of winning the fight. You know, yeah. But anyway, the 90s. Ricardo Lopez, El Finito. Bad man there, never lost. The undefeated and often overlooked El Finito dominated the small weights for the entire decade with a near perfect record. Just one draw as a blemish on his record, which he avenged. Yeah. And Ricardo could have been, like Joe Louis was champion throughout the 40s. Ricardo could have been champion throughout the 90s, but like 98, something like that, he vacated and moved up. Nobody could beat him. He was at strawweight. And if Ricardo would have been at something like lightweight or welterweight, he would be a household name. But he fought way down there in the lower weight class. But Ricardo Lopez would be a household name just like Julio Cesar Chavez, Canelo, Juan Manuel Marquez, some of the other great Mexican fighters. Ricardo is right up there with him, but he fought at 105. So, you know, a lot of people don't even know it's a weight class at 105. But El Finito was like that. Best fighter of the 1990s. Ricardo Lopez. 51-0 with one draw. And the 2010s was Manny, because Manny went through that decade like he was out of his mind. And he was the fighter of the decade for Ring Magazine. Okay, Manny Pacquiao. And then for the 2010s to the 2020s was Floyd Mayweather Jr. And then for this half a decade we're in now, Bud Crawford. Okay, so that was the best fighters of every decade. So now we're going to look at the 10 most hyped fights in boxing history. Talk about some hype fight, overhyped fight. Well, not overhyped, but 10 most hyped fights in boxing history. Okay, I got to keep track of the chat too. Let me see. How's everybody this Tuesday afternoon, though? Okay, yeah. Oh, Bruce Gas, boxing, jazz, and more. Salute, Bruce. Today is Tuesday. This is the day of the quiz, right, Bruce? The Bruce Gas boxing quiz over there. You better know your boxing if you're going there too. I'm telling you from personal experience. You better know what you're doing on the net Bruce Gas boxing quiz. But I believe it's tonight. Yeah. Put your link in there, Bruce, so everybody can. But you better know your boxing if you go over there. Don't go in there half-stepping because you'll get embarrassed. I've been embarrassed in there. You know, when Bruce started totaling up, I've been damn near in last place. The box story. Mm-hmm. But salute, Bruce. Okay, we're gonna talk about now some of the most overhyped, well, not overhyped, some of the most hyped fights. I keep saying overhyped. They weren't overhyped because some of them ended up being great fights, but some of the most hyped fights in boxing history. Yeah, just highlights of boxing history today, a few different subjects. And then we're going to talk about some fighters from the 1900 to 1909. You know, not none of the big names. Some of the fighters we don't normally talk about. I hope this is it. This is it. Okay. Yes, that's what I meant. This phone like you're talking to a person. Ask me, did you mean yes? That's what I meant. Bring it up. Okay. Here we go. Talking about some hyped fights. Now. 10 of the most hyped fights in boxing history. Okay, there we go. Damn. Man. Okay. 10 of them. Now, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao they finally met after years of negotiations and all that. And it was very hyped. Now, I would say that one was overhyped. Okay. Now we're going to look at 10 of the most hyped fights in boxing history now. Okay. Now remember, the fights themselves didn't necessarily have to be good, but they all matched huge names, either against compelling opponents or in compelling events. So let's look at them. These are some of the most hyped fights in boxing history. Oscar De La Hoya versus Manny Pacquiao. Oh. Where did I go wrong at? Excuse me for a minute. I'm all mixed up. I'm all shook up. Like Elvis said. I'm all shook up. There we go. Oscar De La Hoya versus Manny Pacquiao is first. Talk about some hype fights now. Okay. Uh-oh. Bruce got a sample for us. Man. I don't have to answer it, do I, Bruce? Who is a fighter coming off a 5-fight losing streak and beating the great Sugar Ray Robinson? My answer is, I don't know. Damn, give us the answer, Bruce. Come on, for a 5-fight losing streak and beating the great Sugar Ray Robinson. See, I told you, that's what you got. You better know what you're doing going in there. Anybody know? Anybody got the answer, put it in there. Who is the fighter coming off a 5-fight losing streak and beating the great Sugar Ray Robinson? Let me see. I'm gonna take a guess though. Let me see. 5-fight losing streak and beating the great Sugar Ray Robinson. It wasn't Jake. Oh, Was it Carmen Basilio? Oh, there it is. What's up, Al Booger? Carmen Basilio is my answer, Bruce. No, I don't think Carmen Basilio lost 5 straight, but that's my answer. But salute Al Booger. You got the answer to that question, Al Booger, in there? Who was the fighter coming off a 5-fight losing streak and beating the great Sugar Ray Robinson? Okay. Tonight is the night of the boxing quiz on Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and More. That's just a sample right there. Okay, so now we're talking about some of the most hyped fights in boxing history. Okay, Oscar De La Hoya and Manny Pacquiao. The dream match. The Oscar's passing of the torch fight with Pacquiao in December 2008. Okay. It was the key step in the Filipinos' development into a true pound-for-pound sensation. Oscar had lost a close match to Floyd the previous year and intended to close out his Hall of Fame career with 3 fights in 2008. He beat former world champion Stevie Forbes in May in anticipation of facing Floyd in a rematch that fall. Okay? But Floyd's sudden retirement put the kibosh on that plan and ultimately resulted in Oscar's meeting Manny in a 12-round non-title fight at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Now, there were a few interesting elements at play here. For one, Oscar hadn't forced his body to make the welterweight limit for a fight in 7 years by that point. While many openly speculated about whether or not Manny, who had been fighting at 130 pounds and below, could handle the increased weight and size of the Golden Boy, right? Now it turns out that the former was a huge issue, and the latter, well, you know. Okay, Pacquiao was a buzzsaw. It didn't even bother Manny, the weight and size of Oscar. He cut through Oscar like he was some club fighter from nowhere land, right? From nowhere land. And not one of the best pound-for-pound fighters of his generation. The loss ended Oscar's career, while Manny catapulted to the stratosphere as boxing's next transcending international superstar. He ended up being a fighter of the decade, remember? Mm-hmm. Talking about some hype fights. Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. Lennox Lewis and Mike. And there's Mike on his back. Now, we knew HBO and Showtime could work together to co-produce a huge pay-per-view event. How did we know? Because they had done it before. Sure, Lennox Lewis's defense of the heavyweight championship against Mike Tyson in 2002 came long past the expiration date, but it was still hotly anticipated and generated a ton of revenue for all parties involved. You could tell how desperate everyone was to match these two in the ring when HBO, who handled Lewis, and Showtime, who handled Mike Tyson, got together and put network rivalries on the side. And the fight generated a then record amount of revenue and buys on pay-per-view. But the in-ring product was sorely lacking. It landed at the Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee, after Nevada refused to license Tyson to fight in the state. And apparently, that decision was based on more than just a smell test. Tyson was clearly a shell of his former glory, an easy prey for the taller, longer, more committed Lewis. There was nothing terribly close to the fight, and Tyson didn't get close to eating Lennox's mythical children, as he famously declared in a pre-fight rant. And Lewis mercifully ended a one-sided affair in round 8. He said he was going to eat Lennox's children. He bit him on the leg, remember? Yeah, that was bad. And then the fight didn't come nowhere close to the hype in that one. Bruce gonna tell us tonight. Oh, Ralph Tiger Jones. Okay, Bruce. Ralph Tiger Jones. Yeah. I said Carmen Basilio. Yeah, Ralph Tiger Jones. Okay. On a 5-fight losing streak. So Ralph Tiger Jones was the guy that beat Sugar Ray Robinson coming off of a 5-fight losing streak. That's just a sample of the Bruce Gares boxing quiz tonight. I think about sevens. Okay, yeah, that's tonight. Okay, we're talking about some hype fights right now. Some of the most hype fights in history. Of course, Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling too, because Max Schmeling had beat Joe's first fight, remember? Mm-hmm. That was big. Yeah. Max was one of the first fighters to study film, right? And he saw Joe Louis when he threw the jab, when he was bringing it back home, he lowered it, curved it down low, right? And Max abided his time and caught Joe. I think he caught him for the first time in the 4th round, and Joe never recovered. And it ended in the 12th. Max not only beat him, he stopped him. That's Joe Louis. What is the second fight here? But the first fight, yeah, Max stopped him. So the second fight was very hyped. Plus World War II was on the horizon, you know. And yeah. The political situation between the United States and Germany was terrible. So yeah, this fight was directly related to that, to the politics of the day. 1938 was a tricky time in America and in the world. And the specter of Nazi Germany's menace began to cast a long shadow over Europe. This isn't meant to be a history lesson, but it's impossible to extract Joe Louis's defense of the World Heavyweight Championship against former champion Max Schmeling on June 22nd, 1938, from the world that surrounded the fight. Prior to the fight, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt met with Joe Louis at the White House to express his support and give him a pep talk, given the current state of relations between the United States and Germany. Yeah, I told you that the fight had a direct relation to politics. The President of the United States brought Joe Louis to the White House and told him how important it was for him to win this fight. Now, Louis later stated in his 1976 biography, he knew the whole damn country was depending on me going into this fight. Louis and Schmeling had met once before in 1936. We talked about that. He knocked Joe Louis out. Now, with the two men on a collision course for a rematch, the world's political climate became a front and center story in the hype and promotion for this fight. Schmeling was treated as a hero by the Nazi regime, even though he refused to join the Nazi party and rejected Adolf Hitler's claims to German racial and ethnic supremacy. Yeah, Max was not a Nazi, but you know, with all the things that was going on then, being German, he got thrust into that role, right? As representing the Nazis. Now, Schmeling's wife and mother were not allowed to travel to the United States for the fight to ensure he wouldn't defect. Because Hitler said if he let Max and his wife and his mother come over here, Max wasn't coming back. So they prevented his wife and mother from traveling with him for the fight. But he was accompanied by a Nazi publicist to correct any statements contrary to the government's official message, because they knew Max wasn't friendly to the Nazi cause. So they sent the Nazi publicist with him to make sure Max didn't say anything against the Nazi regime, okay? So the publicist also stated no black man could beat the German champion. On the night, Lewis took care of business, knocking Smelling out in the opening round. Yeah, that's probably maybe the most hyped fight in boxing history. Looking at the things, everything that was going on surrounding that fight when that happened. Yeah, that was huge. Mike Mazik in the building. What's up, Mike Mazik? How are you today? Just looking at a few different topics in boxing history today. We're looking at some of the most hyped fights. And that might have been the most hyped ever. But at the time it happened. Just imagine a fight like that now. Probably be like 10,000 pay-per-view buys. But Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson 2, which is the bite fight. We covered this many times. Evander had beat Mike and won, and that's not them. It's Joe Louis. Here they are. The bite fight. Yeah, 2. Look at some hype fights. And we'll never be able to escape it. And Mike Tyson will never be able to live it down. It was June 28th, 1997. And it was originally billed as The Sound and the Fury. But by the end of the night, it had a new and infamous name, The Bite Fight. Right? Started out as The Sound and the Fury, ended up The Bite Fight. Now, 7 months earlier, Holyfield had shocked the boxing world by knocking Tyson down in round 6 and forcing the late Mitch Halpern referee to intercede in round 11 and stop the fight. Now, the real deal had been a massive underdog coming in the fight at 25-1 against Tyson, right? After looking washed up in his previous 3 fights to the Tyson fight. Evander didn't look good at all leading into the Tyson fight. So he hit 25-1. So his win prompted an immediate rematch, which captivated the boxing public that had largely given short shrift to the fight, assuming it was as a bygone conclusion. The first fight, right? The Holyfield opened the first 2 rounds of the rematch in command, opening a big cut over Tyson's right eye with a headbutt that infuriated Iron Mike. Tyson attacked with ferocity in round 3, but near the end of the round, he got Holyfield into a clinch and removed a 1-inch section of his right ear with his teeth. Yep. Referee Mills Lane originally disqualified Iron Mike right then on the spot, but he reversed his call. He deducted 2 points and allowed the fight to continue because the fight doctor said Holyfield was okay to continue and his corner was okay with it. So Mills said, okay. He reversed it. And Holyfield was bleeding from a large hole where a part of his ear used to be at, right? But the ring doctor said it was okay to go on. So they went on. And wouldn't you know it, Iron Mike then proceeded to bite Holyfield's other ear, only leaving a mark this time. And he got disqualified. Mills Lane said, that's it. I don't care what the ring doctors say. This fight is over. Yeah, Mike got suspended and fined and everything. Yep, he bit him again. after all that. And the first time was the time he removed part of his ear was the first bite. You would think it was the second bite, but no. Evander was bleeding, part of his ear missing, but he wanted to continue. So Mills Lane said, have at it. One of the greatest referees of all time, by the way, Mills Lane. Mm-hmm. Talk about the most hyped fights. And the Oscar, Evander and Mike's second fight was hyped so much because Evander went into the first fight at 25-1 odds against him and won it. So the second fight was big. The next one is Oscar and Tito Trinidad. Yeah, that's the one. Oscar De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. We talked about some of the most hyped fights of all time. A few different things today. We got some of the most overrated boxers of all time coming up in a moment. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to look at some boxers between 1900 and 1910. We're going to start looking at some boxers from each decade coming up. Okay, Oscar and Felix. Oscar and Tito. Now, Oscar makes his second, but not final appearance on this list for a September 18th, 1999 welterweight unification fight with Puerto Rico's Felix Trinidad. Both Oscar, the Golden Boy from East Los Angeles, and Tito, the power puncher from Puerto Rico, were undefeated pound-for-pound superstars when they stepped into the ring for this fight. Now, the fight tapped into the rich vein of Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalries in boxing. So Oscar was born in the United States of Mexican descent and was expected to settle the score between the two best young fighters in the sport at that time. It was dubbed the fight of the millennium, tapping into the Y2K phenomenon, but it didn't really live up to that type of lofty hype at all. Oscar controlled the early rounds with ease. He was well in control by the midway point and seemed to have built up an insurmountable lead on the scorecards. Inexplicably, Oscar switched his strategy and basically spent the last 3 rounds of the fight running from Tito. And the word is his corner told him to do that. Classic case of taking your foot off the gas right there. Had the fight won. Now, Tito didn't really take much advantage of the situation, but he was perceived as the aggressor and won all of the final 3 rounds. Oscar virtually gave him the fight, right? Virtually said, here, Tito, you can have it. Now, despite the poor strategic choice, Oscar still should have had enough rounds in the bank to ultimately win the decision. But the official scorecards disagreed. Yep. Oscar still probably should have won that, but the judges didn't think so. Now, 2 judges scored the fight for Tito, and the third had it a draw. Tough luck for Oscar. But many fans weren't willing to sympathize, given his tactics over the second half of the fight, especially the final 3 rounds. He did it to himself. He could have just fought one of those rounds, but he just stopped fighting and just ran. And y'all saw that fight for the final 3 rounds of the fight. That was crazy. We talked about some of the most hyped fights. Yeah, it is. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier won the fight of the century. Most iconic fight of all time. Now we look back to a time gone by when heavyweight championship fights weren't treated with the type of hearty derision that fans reserved for Dr. Steelhammer, Vladimir Klitschko in that era. It was a time when the heavyweight title was legitimately the top prize in all of sports. And when it was on the line, the sports world dropped everything and took notice. This fight took place on March 8, 1971 at Madison Square Garden and was dubbed the fight of the century. Now that phrase had been used in the past with Jack Johnson and James J. Jeffries back in 1910 to describe big fights, but this time it seemed truly appropriate. Now Joe Frazier was the defending heavyweight champion on that night, entering the ring with an unblemished mark of 26-0 with 23 knockouts. His foe was a former heavyweight champion himself, an iconic figure who had lost his belt, not in the ring, but for an act of conscience. Muhammad Ali was just 2 fights into his comeback after being forced from the ring for 3 years after refusing to enter the draft for the Vietnam War. 2 undefeated heavyweights contesting the sport's top prize in an iconic venue in the city that never sleeps, in Madison Square Garden, New York City. Where else could this fight have been at? It doesn't get much better than that. And the hype for this fight was monumental. It largely lived up to its lofty expectations, with Frazier doing enough to capture a unanimous 15-round decision and hand Ali the first loss of his pro career. It would spark one of boxing's most storied rivalries, and the 2 men would cross paths again in short order. And y'all probably tired of me saying this, but it don't get no more iconic than this fight. March 8th, 1971, 30 years later, March 8th, 2001, the men's 2 daughters fought to celebrate the 30-year anniversary. Don't get no more iconic than that when your 2 children fight to celebrate the anniversary of the fight. Wow, that's crazy. And then, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier 3, the Thriller in Manila. And they had a fight in between these 2. They didn't have a name for that one, but I guess you just call that one the second fight, right? But yeah, the second one, I think the North American Boxing Federation, the minor title at that time, was on the line. But the first and third had the major titles, WBA, WBC. First one, Frazier had it. Third one, Ali had it because Ali had got them from George Foreman. But the Thriller in Manila, can't talk about this fight enough. I could talk about this all day. Now, Ali had avenged his prior defeat to Frazier with a narrow rematch decision victory in a fight that clearly stands out as the least important and significant of their 3-fight rivalry, the second fight. Now, the 2 met for one of the most highly anticipated rubber matches in boxing history on October 1st, 1975 in Quezon City, Philippines. Yeah. I saw that. I was 15 years old when that happened. A young boxing fan, but a boxing fan. That was crazy around that time. Frazier Ali 3. Now, Ali came into the fight off after splitting a pair with Ken Norton, and Frazier had been knocked out by George Foreman the year before. Now, the greatest, as was his custom, engaged in a pretty vicious and entertaining psychological war with Frazier leading into the fight, dubbing him the Gorilla. In a short poem, Ali wrote for the occasion and saying that it would be a killer and a thriller and a chiller when I get the Gorilla in Manila. And they actually had a little plastic gorilla, right? Little fake gorilla doll, like I guess about the size of a ruler, about 12 inches long, right? And every time he got in front of a camera, he would punch the little real jet black gorilla. He would punch it and say this was Joe Frazier, and it would say that poem. Bruce Gass, remember? Yeah, Ali went way overboard. Remember the little gorilla he had, Bruce? He would carry around with him. Every time he got in front of a camera, he would have the gorilla and call it Joe Frazier, and he would punch on it and say that poem, right? So the fight attracted the then largest closed-circuit audience in boxing history, and Ali won it when Frazier's cornerman, Eddie Futch, stopped the contest between the 14th and 15th rounds. And I don't think Frazier ever forgave Eddie Futch for that. He was blind, he couldn't see. He still wanted to come out because Frazier said he could see a little shadowy figure in front of him. And he said he knew Ali was tired too, so if he could just get one good left hook in, he might get Ali out of there. So he never forgave Eddie Futch for stopping that fight because Frazier thought he still had a chance, right? Now, Ali was sharp in the beginning of the fight, but Frazier found his rhythm and mojo in the middle rounds. It became a war of attrition, with both men clearly exhausted and beaten down from the punches and the earlier than usual start time to accommodate the international audience. The turning point came in round 13, when Ali took command and unleashed a hellacious barrage on Frazier. Futch gave his man one more round, and even then, Frazier didn't want to pull the plug, but there was no reason to continue the punishment for 3 more minutes. Ali had to fight one on the cards. Frazier needed a knockout, and Eddie Futch said, "No one will forget what you done here tonight, son." Ali took the fight and the rivalry 2-1. Yup. Greatest fight of all time. Right, Pirro? Pirro's still in here. Pirro always told me that that's my best fight to Thriller in Manila, but he knows it's his too. Okay. Well, we got Azim in here today. Azim Shabazz, salute. Azim, how are you? Good to see you. We just looking at a few different things today. Now we're looking at some of the most hyped fights of all time. In that Thriller in Manila, that was the 3rd fight between them, and yeah, that was crazy hype. That one, yeah. And I was there for it. I wasn't in the Philippines, but I was seeing it. Okay. I ain't have it like that. Okay, the next one is Floyd and Canelo. This was the fight of the day yesterday. Yeah, Floyd and Canelo. This one. Now, boxing isn't as mainstream today as it was back in the golden eras of Ali, Frazier, Joe Louis, and even Holyfield and Tyson. So why are the top 3 fights on this list from this era? Well, not exactly this era, from the last era before this. Putting it simply, the tools available today for fighters, promoters, managers, and networks to hype and sell fights just didn't exist in the older days, okay? Twitter, Facebook, 24/7 television networks, and the ability to instantly gratify oneself with news and information make the business of boxing substantially easier. Yeah, back when Ali and Frazier fought Thriller in Manila, TV went off at night. Like 1 o'clock in the morning, TV would go off. Come up and put a message, good night, and go off. Come back on like 6, 7 the next morning. You had 24/7 TV. It actually went off. So yeah, that's why, the hype is bigger nowadays. You got 24/7 and you can pull up any fight instantly. You want to rewatch a fight back then, you got to wait for the Wide World of Sports to come on Saturday. You couldn't just go to YouTube and pull it up, okay? Nowadays, you can watch any fight, even that fight now, Ali and Frazier. Right now, I can go pull it up. But you couldn't do that back then. Which brings us to boxing's most prolific businessman. Now, Floyd was in the 2nd fight of his record-setting 6-fight deal with Showtime when he met undefeated rising Mexican sensation Canelo on Mexican Independence Day weekend 2015. Now, the fight was dubbed the One and ended up with a record haul by breaking several of boxing's revenue records, including live gate and pay-per-view money generated at the time. It came just short of eclipsing the next fight on this list for most pay-per-views sold. Golden Boy Promotions, under the leadership of Richard Schaefer, engaged in an unprecedented marketing campaign to hype and sell this fight to the masses. Ads showed up on network television doing high-profile spots, and then major sponsors jumped on board with the hype and type of gusto you expect from a major event. The selling points were easy. Mayweather, the aging pound-for-pound king, Canelo, the good-looking young star, looking to seize the throne. The fight itself, a standard Mayweather type of fight of the man universally declared as the biggest challenge of his career. Now, C.J. Ross retired after turning in her abysmal scorecard that somehow scored the fight a draw, where Mayweather probably won almost every round. Luckily, there were two other judges who actually watched the fight, giving the sport's #1 fighter a deserved decision victory. And then we had Oscar and Floyd. That was a big one there. Oscar and Floyd. Talking about some of the most hyped fights. Oscar and Floyd. Mayweather Jr. Okay, Oscar and Floyd. The world awaits. Now, the genesis of the long-standing Oscar De La Hoya Floyd Mayweather Jr. rivalry can be found in their 2007 super fight and all the hype and promotion that preceded it. HBO debuted their then novel series 24/7 with a program titled De La Hoya Mayweather 24/7. Yeah, that was the first of those kind. Remember Showtime, ESPN, they all started doing it, but that was the first one where they're in the fighter's personal life, their camps, all of that type of thing. So at the time, it was a groundbreaking look inside the training camps, personalities, and psyches of boxing's two biggest stars as they approached what would turn into the best-selling pay-per-view fight in boxing history at that time. Throughout the promotion, Oscar remained mostly reserved and kept his composure. No easy feat, given the constant goading and oft-times over-the-top antics from Floyd. These included bringing a chicken labeled the Golden Girl to a press conference and calling Oscar virtually every vulgar name in the book at every opportunity. Remember that? They was having a press conference and Floyd and Oscar and everybody was up on the stage, and Floyd told one of his team members, bring Oscar up here. And he came up there with a chicken in a cage. He had a gold medal around the chicken's neck. It had Oscar's name on the cage. Yeah. Y'all old enough to remember that. That was crazy. So the two met in Las Vegas on Cinco de Mayo in a fight that had catapulted the attention of the entire sports world, not just boxing, the entire sports world. It was the golden boy against the pretty boy in a fight that would either pass the torch to a new generation of star or see the old guard make one last stand. Either pass it on to Floyd or see Oscar make one last stand. The early rounds were close and the fight was even on the cards at the midway point. But Floyd, as he does so well, adapted in the second half of the fight when Oscar inexplicably moved away from his highly effective jab and took control down, and Floyd took control down the stretch for the then biggest win of his career. Yeah, Roger said Oscar was going to get tired in the late rounds, and he did. And the two men have been bitter rivals, despite their recently ended business partnership since. Yeah. Well, the partnership ended a while back, but yeah, they still, kind of rivals. Okay, and finally, Floyd and Manny. Then I'll talk about hypes. Floyd and Manny. Salute. Azim, good to see you today, my brother. Azim Shabazz. Okay, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. There they are when they met at the basketball game. Remember that? That's when they say they really got everything together at that basketball game in Miami. Miami Heat was playing somebody. Floyd and Manny both happened to be there and got together and talked about the fight. And it was on after that. I mean, they didn't sign no contracts at the game or nothing, but they talked. In fact, that was the first time they had talked face to face at a basketball game. Miami Heat against somebody. Anybody knew the Heat was playing that night? Okay. Now Mayweather made it official. Okay. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather. That's the final one where they met at the basketball game and talked face to face for the first time, and that's what really got the ball rolling on that super fight between them. Okay, some of the most hyped fights of all time. So now we're going to talk about some overrated fighters. 10 of the most overrated fighters of all time. Now, okay, so let's take a look at that. There's three of them. There's Chris Eubank Jr. and Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Some of the most overrated fighters of all time. Okay. This is subjective now, of course. It's just very subjective, opinionated. They don't have to be overrated. But they are. Okay, let's take a look at it though. $321. I've only been on here like 10 minutes. I thought it was like $225 or something. Wow. Okay. Bear with me for one moment, please, my friends. We're going to get this going. Here we go right now. That didn't even take a minute. I said bear with me for a minute. It took like 5 seconds. So that gives me time to take a drink of water. Man. Ain't nothing like a cold bottle of water that's been in the top, got ice floating around in it. Nothing matches that. No soda, alcohol, Mad Dog 2020, none of that. A cold bottle of water with ice floating around in it. Okay, let's go with the some of these most overrated boxers now. Okay. Yeah, ain't nothing like some cold water, Al Booger. And I got this bottle. I had it in the top. It's got ice floating around in it, man. Hit the spot. Now, the sport of boxing has always been a sport where reputation and reality don't always align. Now, hype machines, promotional narratives, and carefully curated records can elevate fighters to legendary status before they've truly earned it. Even though greatness in the squared circle is typically measured by championship reigns, quality of opposition, and defining victories, some boxers have managed to cultivate reputations that far exceed their actual accomplishments inside the ropes. Okay? Now let's talk about some of them. Let's talk about some of these overrated fighters. Now, like I said, this is subjective, opinionated. You know, this ain't based on no kind of facts. But let's talk about some of these overrated fighters. Okay, Anthony Joshua, AJ. Now, the British heavyweight has undoubtedly achieved remarkable success, capturing unified world titles and headlining stadium shows that have broken box office records. Yeah, him and I forgot who it was. We just talked about it Friday. Put 90,000 in the Wembley Stadium. So he definitely headlined some stadium shows. But Joshua's standing as an all-time great has been questioned following decisive defeats to Andy Ruiz Jr., Alexander Usyk twice, and Daniel Dubois. Now, his career is impressive on paper, but it lacks truly elite victories over prime opposition. Wins against Vladimir Klitschko and Joseph Parker certainly carry weight, but Klitschko was 41 years old at the time, okay? 41. And he could have easily lost that fight against the 41-year-old man. Joshua's technical limitations have been repeatedly exposed at the highest level, with questions persisting about his chin, stamina, and ability to adapt mid-fight. His promotional machine, Matchroom Boxing, led by Eddie Hearn, has been extraordinarily effective at maintaining his marketability despite these setbacks, which is perhaps why he's considered overrated relative to his current place in heavyweight history. Yeah, Eddie done a good job, at hiding these defects I just talked about in Joshua. Chin, losses in them big fights. And he almost lost to Vladimir Klitschko. He won that fight, but Vladimir was 41 years old. Okay? But yeah, Eddie been with him since day one. Okay, let's go to the next one is Billy Joe Saunders. Talk about overrated. Billy Joe Saunders. Okay, Billy Joe. There's Billy Joe. Now, the Hatfield Southpaw possessed undeniable skill and slick movement, capturing titles at middleweight and super middleweight. But Saunders' career is defined more by unfulfilled potential than genuine elite level accomplishments. His best victories came against solid but unspectacular opposition, like Chris Eubank Jr., who's also on this list, and David Lemieux, as he consistently avoided the most dangerous fights available to him, most notably Triple G. When he finally stepped up against Canelo Alvarez, Saunders was thoroughly outclassed and retired on his stool with a fractured eye socket. Okay? When he stepped in there against a big name like Canelo, he got beat down, got his eye socket fractured. His ability was often praised in the British media, creating a perception of greatness that his actual achievements never quite justified. The constant talk of what Saunders could do, coupled with a string of issues with the law, always seemed to overshadow what he actually did. And his reluctance to consistently face top-tier opposition meant his legacy remains one of wasted talent rather than concrete accomplishments. And the only reason he got in there with Canelo because that was his biggest payday ever, okay? Only reason. He finally faced the top-name legitimate star like Canelo because it was his biggest payday ever. Other than that, he wouldn't have done it. Overrated. Now, that ain't even subjective. That's a fact. Billy Joe Saunders. Okay. Jeff Lacey. Go back a ways to Jeff. Jeff Lacey. Overrated. Jeff Lacey. Now, the Florida-born super middleweight was built up as an unstoppable force in the mid-2000s, with him being billed as the next great American champion. Lacey's powerful style and impressive stoppage victories over middling opposition created genuine buzz, but his reputation came crashing down spectacularly when he faced Joe Calzaghe in 2006. The Welshman delivered a masterclass, outboxing and outworking Lacey over 12 one-sided rounds that exposed the American's limitations. It became painfully clear that Lacey had been carefully matched against opponents designed to make him look devastating rather than truly test his skills. After the Calzaghe defeat, his first as a pro, Lacey was never the same fighter, going the rest of his career with a record of 6 wins and 5 losses. This big killer they had built up. After he got beat down by Calzaghe, 11 fights, he lost 5 of them, okay? So this one ain't subjective either, this is fact. His career serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of believing promotional hype over substance, okay? The dangers of believing promotional hype over substance. Okay, the next one. We talking about some overrated fighters right now. Here's the next one right here. Okay? Just won his first world title, but shouldn't even have been in the fight. coming off a loss. How did he even get a title fight? Okay? The politics of boxing. But overrated, this one ain't subjective either. This is another fact. This ain't subjective. This is fact. All of it. Ryan Garcia, overrated. As opposed to the likes of Jake Paul and KSI, Ryan Garcia is an actual pro boxer, as well as an influencer on social media. But that doesn't mean he's exempt from question over his achievements, matching his celebrity status. Garcia possesses genuine hand speed and power, evidenced by his recent victory over Devin Haney, though that win was overshadowed by a subsequent positive drug test and the victory being changed to a no contest. Now, prior to that, his reputation was largely built on solid but unspectacular opposition, with his most notable performance being a victory over Luke Campbell, who was vacant WBC interim lightweight title. This was before Devin. Now, since he's won the championship, but I'm not even going to mention that because he didn't even deserve a championship fight. Coming off a loss to Rolly. Trash ass Rolly. Ryan coming off a loss to him and gets a championship fight. Where did he do that at? Now, Garcia's promotional efforts, fueled by millions of Instagram and TikTok followers, have created a level of fame that arguably exceeds his in-ring accomplishments, something seen far too often today. His mental health struggles and erratic behavior outside the ring have added to the circus surrounding him. Whilst undeniably talented, the gap between Garcia's celebrity status and his actual position in the lightweight hierarchy in the ring makes him a prime candidate for many fans' list of overrated boxers. Okay? Yeah, Ryan Garcia, way overrated, man. Way overrated. As soon as he get in there with Fournette, he's not going to have that title long. I would pick Brian Norman over him. Over Ryan. And he just BSing. He's not going to the 140 and fight your career. Ryan Garcia can't even make 140. Okay? He can't even make 140. He'll look like Devin looked in the George Kambosos fight, like Skeletor on the scales, if he tried to make 140. Anybody with any kind of boxing knowledge or sense know damn well Ryan Garcia can't make no 140. Okay? And anybody who think he can is crazy. What Roger Mayweather said. Okay, next is Kelly Pavlik. Overrated fighters. Kelly Pavlik. The Ghost enjoyed a meteoric rise in the late 2000s, demolishing Jermaine Taylor twice to capture the middleweight crown and becoming the poster boy for American boxing. Pavlik's aggressive, front foot forward style and devastating power made him must-watch television, but his reign at the top was remarkably short-lived. Just like the previous one we talked about, his reign at the top going to be remarkably short-lived. Let Ryan get in there and get Staniotis or somebody, he's going to get stopped. Okay? You heard it here first. Fight Staniotis. Staniotis will stop Ryan Garcia. Now we're talking about Kelly Pavlik. When he stepped up against all-time great Bernard Hopkins, the 43-year-old veteran schooled him over 12 rounds, exposing Pavlik's technical deficiencies in the non-title fight. He ended up losing his belts 2 years later to Sergio Martinez, further cementing his fall from grace. Personal struggles with alcohol derailed what remained of his career, but even at his peak, Pavlik's reputation as an all-time middleweight great was built more on his explosive knockouts of Taylor than a sustained period of dominance against elite opposition. Okay. Excuse me for a minute. Okay. And his brief time at the top and limited number of high-quality victories place him firmly on this overrated list. Okay, David Haye. We're talking about some of the most overrated fighters of all time. David Haye, that's David on the right there. David Haye. Overrated, man. Al Booker says, yeah, Pavlik wasn't that great, but I liked him. Youngstown, Ohio's own. Okay, Al Booker. Yeah, Al Booker liked him. But he still admitted he wasn't that great. Al Booker said, I liked him, but he wasn't that great. Okay, David Haye. Now, David Haye, the Haymaker. He talked a spectacular game and possessed genuine one-punch knockout power, but his heavyweight legacy is defined more by what could have been than what actually was. Haye enjoyed success at cruiserweight, becoming undisputed champion. Only one of three, Haye, Holyfield, and Usyk, undisputed at cruiserweight. But his move to heavyweight promised fireworks that never quite materialized. Though he defeated the 7-foot Nikolai Valuev to win a heavyweight title, the Russian was well past his prime, and Haye avoided the era's elite opposition for years. When he finally faced Vladimir Klitschko, he was comprehensively outboxed with his infamous toe injury excuse becoming a punchline. His rivalry with Tony Bellew ended with 2 knockout defeats that solidified his status as someone who could sell fights better than win them. Haye's charisma and promotional ability created a perception of greatness that his heavyweight accomplishments never quite justifies, particularly given his tendency to withdraw from major fights and his reluctance to face the very best until it was commercially unavoidable. David Haye. Okay. Another one that makes the overrated list. Chris Eubank Jr. Here's Chris. Chris Eubank Jr. Mm-hmm. Following in his father's legendary footsteps has proven a double-edged sword for Eubank Jr., whose surname has arguably elevated his reputation beyond his in-ring achievement. Despite competing at world level for years, Eubank Jr. has consistently come up short in the fights that matter most. Defeats to Billy Joe Saunders, George Groves, and Conor Benn exposed his limitations against elite opposition and those who are simply hungrier than he is. And victories have largely come against faded former champions or solid domestic level fighters. His athleticism and physical advantages often allow him to look impressive against inferior opposition, but his technical deficiencies and questionable ring IQ becomes glaringly obvious when facing world-class opposition. The constant talk of potential mega fights and his prominent media presence have maintained a perception of relevance that his actual accomplishments in the ring struggle to back up. Eubank Jr. remains a solid world-level fighter, but the gap between how he's perceived and where he actually ranks in his division makes him a prime example of an overrated fighter. Okay, and this one definitely overrated here. Prince Naseem Hamed. Prince Naseem Hamed, showboater. His ring walks was the best. His ring walks was the best ring entrances because he didn't always walk. He coming on flying carpets and all kinds of motorcycles, all kinds of stuff. So you can't say ring walks, ring entrances for him. That was the best thing about him. Otherwise, he was overrated. Prince Naseem Hamed. Now, this will prove controversial, but the case needs to be heard. Hamed was unquestionably talented, entertaining, and achieved genuine success at featherweight with his unorthodox style and devastating power. But his reputation as an all-time great is built on a relatively thin career of elite-level victories. His most notable fight came against Marco Antonio Barrera, a fight he lost comprehensively by a one-sided beatdown, exposing the restrictions of his unorthodox approach against elite opposition. Now, before that defeat, much of his championship reign was built on defenses against solid but unspectacular European-level opposition, with his flashy entrances and knockdowns creating an image that exceeded his actual dominance. Hamed retired a year after the Barrera loss at just 28 years old, leaving us with more questions than answers about how he would have fared in a longer career against the era's other elite featherweights, such as Floyd Mayweather Jr. At the time, Floyd was at featherweight. Hamed got out of there after he got beat down by Barrera, and that was a one-sided beatdown there. Now, Hamed's entertainment value and unique style have perhaps elevated his legacy beyond what he truly delivered in the ring. Okay, a couple more. Okay, yeah. Overrated. Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, overrated. The Bronze Bomber possesses the most devastating right hand in heavyweight history, but his overall boxing ability has been significantly overrated by some. Wilder held the WBC heavyweight title for 5 years, but his reign was characterized by carefully selected opposition. The Alabama native lacked much in the way of technical development. His defensive deficiencies limited boxing fundamentals, and over-reliance on his power were ruthlessly exposed by Tyson Fury across 3 fights, with the latter 2 ending in stoppage losses. Beyond Fury, Wilder's championship reign lacked high-level victories, with Luis Ortiz representing his best win. And Ortiz was 50? At least 40 then. Wilder's pro debut came remarkably late due to a thin amateur background, yet he was fast-tracked to a title shot after fighting a small handful of well-known boxers. American promotional efforts positioned him as the planet's most feared puncher, but when tested by genuine world-class opposition, his technical limitations became painfully apparent. His power was undeniable, but it masked fundamental boxing deficiencies that will prevent him from being considered among the heavyweight greats. Yeah, you can't blame the American promoters because we hadn't had a heavyweight champion since Evander Holyfield in years, over a decade before Wilder. So you can't blame the American promoters for trying to push him up there and call him an all-time great, but no, he wasn't. Not even close. And finally, for the overrated fighters, well, not really overrated, but he was his own downfall. Adrian Broner, AB. Adrian Broner. Yeah. Now, topping the list is the problem. A fighter whose talent was undeniable, but whose achievements never came close to matching the hype. Broner was marketed as the heir to Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s throne, adopting his style, mannerisms, and even his about billions persona. He captured world titles in 4 weight classes, which sounds impressive until you examine the level of opposition. Broner's championship reigns were brief and built on victories over faded veterans and domestic-level fighters, rather than elite opposition. Every time he stepped up against a world-class competitor, Marcos Maidana, Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, he was outclassed and beaten every time, exposing the massive gap between his self-perception and his true ability. His behavior outside the ring, combined with constant proclamations of greatness, despite repeatedly falling short, created a perfect storm of overrated status, as well as utter delusion. AB's career serves as the ultimate cautionary tale about believing your own hype, which is precisely why he's number one on this list. Don't believe the hype. AB believed his own hype. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, Al Booger. Bum Squad. And then AB. Yeah. Okay. Wow, 345. We had some, I didn't know that was going to go that long. We had some fighters from 1900 to 1990 who was going to profile. Like the Attell brothers. We touched on them briefly today on the siblings show. They were the first brothers to hold world titles at the same time, simultaneously. So let's see if we can get the Attell brothers in. Abe and Monty. Yeah. Fought back in the 1900s. Yeah. Abe won his title in 1902. And he was champion from 1910. And then in 1909, his little brother Monty won his title. And made them first siblings. We got brothers and sisters fight. First siblings to be world champion, hold major titles at the same time. The Attell brothers, yeah, Abe and Monty. Let's see, but I had like 5 or 6 of them I was going to profile briefly. We're going to do that on some shows, go from the decades and look at some, not the big names, some other fighters from these decades that we don't always talk about. Let's take a look at Abe Attell. Oh, no, there's Abe right there. What's up, Abe? Okay, Abe Attell. Pretty good fighter back in the 1900s. Reigned from 1902 to 1910, 8 years. He got the longest reign as a featherweight. I'll tell you in a minute. But Abe Attell, Abraham Washington Attell, known as the Little Hebrew, was an American pro boxer who held the World Featherweight Championship from 1902 to 1910, achieving the longest reign in the division's history with 21 successful title defenses. 21. Born to a Jewish family in San Francisco, California, Attell began his pro career in 1900 at age 16 and amassed a record of 91 wins, 53 by knockout against 9 losses, 18 draws, and 51 no decisions over 171 documented fights, many of which were scored by newspaper reporters in the era before official judges. That's what they call the newspaper decisions. Didn't have no judges, but some writers from the newspapers at ringside would put their decision in their papers the next day. And that's not on the official BoxRec record. His official BoxRec record is 91 wins, okay, and 9 losses or 100 fights. But along with the newspaper decisions, he had like 170-something fights overall. Now he won the vacant featherweight title by defeating Jimmy Walsh by unanimous decision in 1902 and defended it against top contenders until relinquishing it in 1910 after a disputed loss to Johnny Kilbane. Inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990, Attell's legacy as a defensive master and enduring champion persists, though he faced later allegations of involvement in the 1919 Black Sox scandal as a purported intermediary for gambler Arnold Rothstein, claims he consistently denied, which did not result in conviction. Yeah, they say he had ties to the mob, but nothing during his boxing career. Okay, that's significant. They said his mob ties, well, nothing related to it. None of his fights was suspected of being fixed, but after his career, they talked about he had ties to the mafia. The Chicago Black Sox scandal, where they were accused of throwing the World Series in 1919, Abe was suspected to be involved in that. But let's get his brother Monty in, and then we're gonna shut it down. Monty Attell. These were the first 2 brothers to hold world titles simultaneously. The Attell brothers. Okay. There's a shot of Monty. What's up, Monty? Okay, Monty Attell. We're gonna look at him and then we're gonna get up out of here. Okay. Now Monty Attell American pro boxer. He held the World Bantamweight Championship from 1909 to 1910. Okay, born into the same poor Jewish family in San Francisco that Abe was born into. He began as a street fighter before turning pro around 1901, eventually becoming known as the Nob Hill Terror in the bantamweight division. Monty's career spanned from 1901 to 1917, during which he compiled a pro record of 58 wins, 30 by knockout, 29 losses, 8 by knockout, and 21 draws, of course, 110 fights, competing primarily on the West Coast, but also in the East, primarily on the West, but he did have some fights in the East. He captured the vacant World Bantamweight title on June 10th, 1909, by knocking out former champion Frankie Neal in the 18th round at Carl Frost Arena in Colma, California. And that's what made him and his brother Abe the first brothers to hold major world titles at the same time, simultaneously. Now, Monty defended his title in several fights, including multiple draws against Danny Webster and a win against Jimmy Curl, but lost the championship 8 months later on February 22nd, 1910, to Frankie Conley by knockout in the 42nd round, a notoriously grueling fight at Jeffries Arena in Vernon, California. 42nd round. As the younger brother of the renowned world featherweight champion Abe Attell, Monty achieved a historic milestone. The brothers were the first siblings to hold world boxing titles simultaneously during Monty's brief reign. Now, earlier in his career, Monty secured regional honors such as the Pacific Coast Bantamweight title in 1908 by defeating Mike Kuchos, and the USA Nevada State Featherweight title that same year against Ed Derby. Monty retired in 1917 due to vision problems that eventually led to blindness. Post-retirement, he worked as a referee and briefly managed fighters, including Tex Vernon in 1914, before passing away in San Francisco at age 75. In 2015, Monty was inducted into the International Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, recognizing his contributions to boxing and Jewish athletic heritage. Now, Abe is in the big one, international, but Monty is in the Jewish. I give it to say the first brothers in the international, but no, Abe haven't made it yet. And he retired in 1917. If he haven't made it yet, I don't think he's going to make it. Right? I mean, what is 1917 to now? Like, what, 109 years or something like that? Yeah, 109 years. Yeah. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T. Hill? How are you today? Salute. Yeah, we just had a few different subjects today. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, and few different things. We talked about some overrated fighters. Those overhyped fighters. I just put this show together like 10 o'clock this morning. It didn't turn out too bad for. Just put it together. I was tired, and yeah, I usually do it the day before. After I get off, I put the next, but yeah. And that didn't turn out too bad. I don't think. What y'all think? Yeah, but we're gonna, let's see. I think, yeah, Just Do Boxing is coming up next in these streets. On YouTube. But let's see if Thomas Hill want to say something right quick before we get out of here. Let me drop the link real quick. See if T. Hill got something he wants to tell us before we get out of here. But yeah, appreciate everybody for coming through though. Always. We'll be back tomorrow with some more boxing history. Yes.
Yeah, Kaz, you always know I'm always going to come up and stop it up with you, baby boy. You already know. I was going to say, given the topic, I think that, it would be a nice topic to talk about weigh-ins. You know how weigh-ins used to be, how, you know, you used to go about the art of weigh-in, and now it's done transition to something ceremonial instead of something that's actually declarative or something. I don't know how to say it right now, man. And I was going to say the championship rounds, because I think that they need to determine whether or not the championships round should end at 11 or go to 13. I don't think it should be even. I'm not good with the even. I know that's a money coup, because, you know, if it's a draw, you can avoid missing big fights, and you can also avoid, you know, you can make another fight. But hell, man, I think they need to put back the importance of a loss, man. I think a loss should be important, but it also should be quantified, man. I think we've seen over time so many people lose and come back and do great things. I don't think that, you know, a loss defines who you are. And sometimes that loss could be by fractions of points, man. So, you know, with that being the case, I think they need to go to 13. I really do think they need to go to 13, or just keep it at 11.
Because, you know, T. Hill, a loss is what tests your character. Anybody can win, but how do you lose, you know? Exactly.
So I would love to see, you know, you focus a session on those talking points and gloving up too, man. I think that we need to go back to the art of gloving up, how they used to do it as opposed to how they do it now.
Yeah.
You know, that would be interesting, man. It'd be some stuff that, you know, people not too familiar with, man. These weigh-ins used to be done totally different. And, you know, while there needs to be some kind of transition from what they do now, because I'm sorry, not possible naturally for you to put on 20 something pounds, 30 something pounds. They never did that, bro. They didn't put on 10 pounds. Like, if they went over 10, it was like that was a bad hydration. I don't know if they're going to have any energy. That's what they would say. And we're talking about, we're in a day and age where people are putting on like 30 pounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The gloves. So the gloves back in the days, Booger, they used to have to select the gloves, and then the gloves will be taken by the sanctioning body and kept until the day of the fight. And then in the ring, they would have to glove up. Yeah. So they would have all their, what you call that, not stacking, but whatever they call that thing, your bandaging. Hand wraps. Yeah, your hand wraps. Your hand wraps will be there. You would walk in your hand wraps, you would glove up.
But your opponent still has a representative to watch your hand wrap in the dressing room too, T.
For sure. Yeah, that's always been the case. But you couldn't glove up.
No.
Because you couldn't have tampered gloves.
They was in the ring, yeah.
The gloves was already in the ring. So, you know, they need to go back to that.
Yeah.
They need to go back to that. I think that, you know, given the fact that some serious major fights, there was some shady activity with gloves, you know, that speaks hella to that. In a sport where people have went home and then later went on to different pastures, you gotta protect them at all times. Like, I believe that there were like 6 high profile fights where the gloves were busted, floppy, able to be extended. You can't do that in real gloves. No. Real gloves, you can't do that. So I think that needs to be talked about. I think that the championship rounds, and, you know, what it was back then, because back then it was 13, 14, 15. 12 was the original fight.
Yeah.
13, 14, 15 was the championship rounds.
Yeah. You know, T. Hill, when they went, because, you know, you used to have unlimited, and they went to 15, like you say, for a reason. It was uneven rounds, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, unlimited is crazy work. Them cats, they were doing something super, super dangerous back then.
13, they had 15, that uneven number, you know?
Yeah.
They didn't say 14, they said 15. But it's for a reason. That's a good point you make when you say it should be 13, you know?
It should be 13.
Yeah.
And, you know, I fully stand by that. I think that, you know, they need to do away with the possibility as best they can. Now, with a 13-round fight, you still can get a draw. There still can happen, but it's fewer and far between. So I think that they need to move away from the 12. I think they should either move to the 11 or move to the 13. And with
I don't
that,
know why when he went from 15. I don't know why they went to 12. You know.
I think because they deemed it, well, you know, because people were exhausted and expiring themselves, and sometimes, you know, I think that wasn't that Boom Boom Mancini last 15.
What I meant to hear was I don't know why they didn't go to 11 or 13. When I know why they dropped it, but I don't know why they picked 12, the even number.
I think in that Boom Boom Mancini, I think 13 is where, you know, it really got dark. It really got dark for some Jun Kim or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And I think that they used that as the measuring stick. Like he went beyond where he should have went. So 12, he looked like he was good, but no, he never was really good. And he was taking a beating the whole fight long in that thing.
Yeah, nowadays that would have been stopped. Like,
that was on the ref. That was on the corner. Hell, that was even on the commission.
Yeah.
Anybody could have stopped that.
His corner should have saved him because he was.
His corner should have saved him. The ref should have saved him.
Yeah.
The sanctioning body, they could have said, "Nah, you know what? Stop that." Anybody, the timekeeper, they could have been like, "Hey, yo, look, nah, stop that, man. That ain't good." They could have pressed for it, but they let it go too long.
Because he had a history of having a good chin and being tough like that, you know. But that fight there was just too much.
Yeah, he wasn't given anything in defense. Like he couldn't do anything. So, I hear you on that. So I would love that one, man. Like I said, the weigh-ins.
Yeah. But I
championship rounds.
That would be good.
It would be so much better, man. I mean, and it would buoy this trend. You notice there's been a lot of draws lately.
I know.
It's because, you know, people have alliances, and sometimes, you know, the fight, you know, it didn't like case in point, man. I'm gonna say, just recently there was a draw. I forgot who it was, but it was a draw. And in the fight, it was close.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, the judges sometimes, the round so close and, you know, it's just like a fallback thing. Just call it a draw, you know. Yeah,
because that washes everything. That keeps everything good with the people that we got an alliance with or allegiance with. That's on top of that, it doesn't penalize the person who probably should have gotten the dub. So, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at that, but when it's become like, okay, let's stop this. Let's just give this a draw. Let's give this a draw. Let's give this a draw. Nah, man, that's not what the draw there for.
With the judges, that's not what it's for. You're right, but that's what the judge is doing now, man.
So in a 13-round fight, you still can get a draw, but it's just difficult to get a draw.
Yeah.
So now, if you get a draw, then it truly was a fight where it was pretty much equal.
Yeah, it should be a draw.
It should be a draw.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, but I think a lot of judges just use it as far, man. Like you say, keep them good with everybody. Just call it a draw, you know. And I hear you, Booger. Draws have always been a part of boxing, and you know what I'm saying. And I don't have a problem with it. It's just that there were draws back then when it was 15 rounds. Yeah, it was draws then. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't as many draws. Now it's so many draws. Like that's the easiest way out. Let's just say it was a draw. And they were truly even fights then, where you really couldn't pick a winner. Yeah, because that can happen. Like in a 13-round fight or in a 15-round fight, a person, you know, 15, that's 8 and 7, right? Yeah. So now, what if one person won 8, but they got knocked down? That's right. A draw. Yeah. A person could win 8 rounds, get knocked down 3 times. They lost. You know what I'm saying? That's boxing. Yep. Yeah. You know, it's a possibility still to get the draw, but I'm just saying it's a possibility you can win more rounds and lose. That's true. I've seen Justice Huey. Well, I mean, he won by knockout, but you know that Mickey Freaky won all kind of rounds. He won every round in there with your boy Fabio Warley until the one he didn't. Them getting stopped, you know, then losing. That's boxing. That's the beauty of it, you know. The fight is never over. Ryan Garcia, I know a lot of people are a little suspect about
supplementation in the Devin Haney fight.
Yeah.
But look how many times he knocked him down. Now, of course, all of them didn't get awarded, but he knocked him down a great deal of times, and it still was a close fight.
It was close. Mm-hmm.
So it was a close fight. So, with that being the case, I just love to see him go back to an odd number. So with that, we can get more declarative winners as opposed to declarative draw. And then truly, if it's a draw, then we know, well, I understand why it was a draw. Even though this dude won more rounds, this dude did do more damage in the fight. And, it counted. So, yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel. I think that the same day weigh-ins is a must. I think that we got to get away from ceremony, everything. Boxing is not ceremony.
I don't like that because a fighter might miss weight, but then he get the chance to go make the weight and then come back and make it. We never see that. Then by the next day, they done did all that.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time the ceremonial come, they done did all that. They not had nothing registering on the scale. They just stepping up there.
And they ain't throwing ceremonial punches neither.
I don't know. When did they start that? That hasn't been going on that long, have it? That ceremonial?
I'm not sure. That's why I say weigh-ins will be a good topic to cover.
Yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a great one.
It's a lot to go and unpack with that, man, because I don't know, but I just know it's now the thing. Now everything's ceremonial.
I don't even watch them no more.
It used to be a thing to watch the weigh-in. Now, it's like they
fight, watching the weigh-in, But now it's not really a weigh-in. They done already weighed in,
Booker say less than 5 years, man. He said they did.
That's what I figured out.
It's really new. Yeah, it's fairly new.
I know it hasn't been that long. Within years, yeah. Yep.
You used to see when people was looking bad on that scale, man. You used to see when people missed that weight. You used to see the response.
Body language and stuff, T-Hill. The body language and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It used to be earthened. You used to could feel it, like.
Yeah. But
Apollo, you want to come in, dog? You in the back?
I knew Pearl was back there. I wasn't paying attention. There we go. Okay. How long you been back there, Pearl?
What's going on?
Huh?
What's going on?
Couple seconds.
How y'all doing?
Okay, well, what's happening?
Chilling, man.
What you think about the conversation, the weigh-ins and all that kind of stuff?
Yo, Booger, right.
I only got the tail end of it.
Okay, yeah, we stopped just talking about weigh-ins and the same day versus the day before and the ceremony and all that. I know you don't like ceremonial, man.
I really don't care.
Really?
Don't matter to me. Ceremonials usually the same day, so it don't matter.
Yeah, but I mean, I like to see an actual weigh-in and everything. Like they miss, and it's just like it's more enjoyable to me. This versus they just come up there already weighed in, and I don't even watch them anymore.
To be honest, I think they've always been ceremonial.
Always?
Yeah.
I don't know about that one,
but they used to actually weigh in right there on the spot sometimes.
Yeah, I remember when they used to. They used to have the flash bulb cameras too. Oh, them bad boy, them joints used to be live. You could see the disappointment. Yeah, you could tell by their expressions when they missed, they would be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there would be fights breaking out too, man. I remember.
You go over there and strip down, then you have to hold the towel up. Oh, that ain't ceremonial. Remember, you used to put the towel in. They be buck naked trying to make the weight.
Yeah, those aren't, but
yeah.
But Al Booger is correct. I think they really stopped it when Devin went up there looking really, really bad that one time versus Kambosos. Because he looked bad, man. I didn't even recognize him. I thought that was something fake. I was like, that's not him. Yeah, he looked bad that day. So yeah, that's why I knew, his time there was limited, man. I'm surprised he was able to get 2 more fights out of that division. And I think then after that, after that time is when he started getting truly involved with Victor Conti,
Mm.
and I think that also helped him be able to do that type stuff. But that
Victor
first
passed
time,
away, didn't he? Didn't Victor pass away?
yeah, he sure did. Sure
Yeah.
Who
did.
passed away? Who passed away?
Victor Conti.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Mm-hmm.
But what up with you though, Puddle?
Chilling, man. What's up? Hold on.
What you got for us?
My bad, Tommy. I thought my wife was telling me something. Go ahead.
Nah, man, talk to your wife, dog. We was just asking what you got for the show, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you always
I
come
thought
with
she was talking to me. She wasn't talking to me.
I think we got Carlos Adames fighting this weekend, right? And Lester Martinez fighting
Is it this
somebody.
weekend?
2 different cards. Yeah, as the headliners.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Adames
dude
is
ammo, bro, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, that's who Carlos fighting, right? Ammo.
Yeah, this is gonna be Amo's make it or break it fight. He's gonna have to show them that he's worth promoting. Otherwise, they'll let him go.
Yeah, this might be it for Ammo.
And I mean, it's
That's
unfortunate.
Shiraz, bro, but I don't know what happened.
Did you say Piro?
Yeah, Shiraz.
I said he had Shiraz.
Yeah.
He let him off the hook. I don't know why.
Let him off. Yeah. That would have been a nice win for him right there, too. If he could have got that. Yeah.
Oh, Ammo's all right though. Last couple of times, he has been biting. He's been fighting through adversity. So hopefully he's good, man, because he gonna need to be against Adames. Adames ain't nobody to mess with.
Yeah, I got Adames in this one. Yeah.
I got
It
Adames
might
too,
stop
but I'm
him.
rooting for my guy.
It might stop him. Adames might, yeah.
You might?
Yeah. I can't see Ammo getting it. I don't know.
I'm a fan, bro. I hope he wins.
Yeah, me too, but I'm a realist. I can't see him beating
me too.
Adames, though. Nah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough fight for him. But hey, hopefully he's right and he can reach back and get something good, man, because he's gonna need it. All he gotta do is continue to maintain that distance, man. Shoot that jab and follow after it, man. Work that body. It's easier said than done, but he used to do it so well. So hopefully he can get back to doing it, man. But hey, that's a tough fight.
Yeah. Adames is very good, man.
Did you guys catch my dude Gallegos versus what's his name? On Pro Box.
Oh, you talking about Najee Lopez, man?
Najee Lopez, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I called
Kaz, you saw that fight?
No, I didn't see it. Mm-mm.
Oh, go back and watch that fight, dog. It's on Pro Box. Please watch that fight. In fact, watch that card, man. That card was lit from first fight all the way to last.
Was this the last Pro Box card?
Yeah, last Pro Box card.
Okay. Yeah, I missed
If
that.
you go to Pro Box, it'll have the fight. See, that's the one thing I like about Pro Box. You can always watch their fights. You can watch their cards. You just got to go
I
back
used
to
to
the.
see them live. I just happened to miss that one. Damn.
Yeah, you missed a goodie.
Wow.
Oh, you missed a goodie.
Murphy's Law.
I had that one called perfectly, Tommy.
Oh, you did? You called it with a 8-round stoppage?
No. I knew Gallegos was gonna be live, but Najee Lopez is a beast. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna get knocked out, bro. But
I like Najee, man. I really respect him after that fight, man, because Gallegos gave him everything he could ask for, man.
Wow.
Yo, you really got to see that. No, Kaz, you really got to see that. I'm sorry, Porto, go ahead.
Oh, I apologize, Tommy. I was saying that Gallegos was the guy that knocked out Khalil Cole.
Yeah.
He was.
And you saw why, too, in that ring, man. He was tough.
Yeah, bro.
He was tough. It was so bad, man. People was talking about Najee because they thought he was trash. Like, this dude's not trash for one.
No. Hell no.
He is not trash. Gallegos was there to fight and to win, and he had no quit in him.
Mm-mm.
They were trading shots left and right, man. It was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, Najee is a warrior, man. And people don't know what they're looking at, man. Damn.
And 2 cuts by headbutts. Still fought through him.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody mess, still fighting through. Knockdown, still fighting through. It was everything you want from a fight, man. That's what it was.
Well,
He came to win. Say it again, Pharaoh.
What weight do they fight at?
Oh, I believe they are at 60.
Okay.
60.
You look humongous for 60, bro.
Yeah, middleweight.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
middleweight.
No,
Yeah, they
Nito got
went
his
up
ass kicked.
above Boots and all of them. Boots and Birds.
You might be right. It might be 68, but I thought it was 60. Though.
Yeah, I
I thought it was 60, but it might be 68. You're right.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to check that.
No, Nito got his ass kicked last night or this morning.
Did he? Damn.
Yeah.
I think it's about time for Nonito to hang him on up, man.
Or no, Nito,
Yeah.
that's my dude right there.
Yeah, I love me some Nonito too,
Me
but
too.
you know, it's time, man.
He's 40, right?
It's time. The second what's the name fight showed me, man, because like I said, the Nonito I know,
Mm-hmm.
he wouldn't have no problem with Inoue. That day he had problems with Inoue.
I thought the Santiago fight should have been it for him. After
Yeah.
he lost that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what, a fight or two after the Donaire fight.
Yeah. It wasn't too far after that.
Yeah, you know, that Donaire fight was a telltale sign, and I mean, I got mad respect for the Donaires, man. There was some stuff going on in that second fight that, you know, affected that fight, but you still don't need Donaire, and you got done like that.
Yeah. After the first one, I was expecting way better than that, man. He gave Inoue hell in that first fight.
Yeah, that was on the level.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give Inoue some props, though, man. He fought with a broken orbital bone.
Yeah. Ooh.
He came back, man.
You know you're constantly getting hit on in that. Wow.
Yeah, he showed some heart, some serious heart,
Went the distance.
and some resolve, dog. I gotta give him his dad, dog. I cannot talk bad about him.
Mm-mm. That's tough. I couldn't do it.
You want to, though.
Over the bone broke. That's it for me.
I want to what?
Talk bad about him.
No, I don't want to talk bad about him. I just want to see him in the ring with Nakatani.
It's coming up, ain't it?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Next,
Coming
right?
up.
Yeah, I've never talked bad about him.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Who y'all got on that one? Y'all made any decisions?
I was a big. I'm still rooting for Nakatani,
Yeah.
but that's gonna be a tough one for Nakatani. He can do it. He could really do it. But he gonna, you know, just remembering what he went through against Donaire, man. I don't think there's no quit in Inoue, dog. And Inoue is super fast. So is Nakatani. Nakatani drops bombs as well too. It's gonna be a hell of a fight, dog. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. But
I can wait for
if I
that.
had to favor somebody, I think I might after the pressure that he was under with I thought he won the fight. I thought he won the fight comfortably too. I just thought it looked different. But
Last one.
yeah, his last one. But you know, I ain't mad for people who thought that said he lost. It looked a certain way. It looked like, you know, he had nothing for this dude coming forward, but he was tagging him.
Yeah.
Dude just kept coming. He
You know,
just
when
kept
you're
coming.
always dominant all the time and then getting a good close fight, people always say you lost.
They-
And I don't know why they do that, man.
But it was a good fight for him because now he can be prepared for pressure like that. That's pressure. My man put so much pressure on him, man. It felt like he was starching clothes.
Yeah,
He's
they
putting
kinda came to
creases.
win, man. You know? Everybody
Yeah,
talk
that was a hell of a
about it
fight, man.
anyway. This guy was like, what about me? I'm in the mix too, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't going nowhere. He wanted to win, and he came to win, man. He fought to win.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a way, been in some fights that kind of look like that for a little bit, but not the whole way through.
Not the whole way. That's a good point. That was perfectly said there, yeah.
So, you know, I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to bet against him in a way, but I still like me some Nakatani. That's still my guy. I hope he go in there on his best stuff and we get a fight that, you know, people will talk about it.
Anyway, always make the adjustment. He get knocked down, but you notice he never get hit by that punch again. You know, the one that dropped him.
Yeah, no, anyway, it's nice, man. There's no denying that. That boy good.
I'm starting to lean anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Nakatani, but you know, I'm thinking, man, that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. I would see it easier for anyway than I would see it for
Yeah,
Nakatani, but I think that
yeah,
Nakatani got what it takes to pull the
yeah.
upset
I
off.
wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised, but it's gonna be. I just can't wait to see it. Them the
But I
kind of
know after
fight,
this fight, man, you know,
you know.
people really gonna have to put respect on his name now. I know they try to devalue Nakatani because of the last fight, but I don't do that, man. I mean,
It's boxing, man.
yeah, people have gotten in the ring with folks that, you know, many people didn't think was nothing, and you know, it was a tough fight. Hell, I mean, I give your boy Tio problems because of the Steve Claggett fight. You know what I'm saying? But that type of stuff happens at times.
That's right.
Go ahead, Poto. I'm sorry.
The pro boxer, man.
Go ahead, Poto.
Yo.
Yeah, we hear you, Perry.
Yeah, I saw you.
Okay,
I saw you go off mute.
Are you clear?
Oh,
now?
sorry. Yeah. I got Nakatani. Excuse me. I got Inoue Easy Work.
Easy
7
Work?
through 10.
Stop it. Oh,
7 through 10.
stop it.
Yeah.
Stop
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
We gonna see. We gonna see.
I like Nakatani, but man, it's
I like
gonna be
Nakatani as well. Yeah.
a tall task, man.
Yeah.
What Booger say? Booger say he got
Anyway.
doubts about drug testing with the Nakatani fight. Yeah.
When is
Yeah,
that?
that's another thing. Your boy Nakatani don't have to drug test neither. That boy can schedule his own times when it's best for him to drug test for randoms. That's fire.
Anyway,
Yeah, that nigga told him, nah, that won't be a good day for me. Let's come back
not
around to this
random,
day. That was so fire to me, dog.
that's
Like
not
that.
random. You can schedule your own time. That's
Yeah,
not random.
exactly. He's
Random
like,
is when they just
nah,
show
that
up
don't work with
in
me.
the next 5 minutes and knock on the door. That's random. But scheduling, that's not random. Mm-mm. No. But I don't think that'll be a factor in it. I don't think. When is this anyway, T Hill? Haven't they signed it and scheduled it and everything? This fight?
Is it already been signed and dated, Porto?
I'm not sure. I know they said.
Porto, has it been signed and dated? Booger, has it been signed and dated? He would know.
What fight are you guys talking about?
The Nakatani and Inoue fight.
Oh,
Is
oh
it
my
been-
lord! It's already like in 3 weeks.
Oh, it's in
What?
3 weeks? Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Hold on, give me a second. I'll give me a second just in case I'm lying to you guys.
Man,
I know
While I'm
Box
checking
Got
that,
Live is where I go to get my
There's something about
information.
April or something, but I didn't know the exact date.
It's in April. It's in April. Yeah, we in March.
Yeah, I did hear April. Yeah, I didn't know the
It's in
exact
March
date.
though. We've in March
So
though.
yeah, we about to get a treat, and we about to see. He said May 2nd.
May?
So,
Yeah, May 2nd. May 2nd. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Booger said that.
Beginning of May.
Yeah,
That's all
Booger
Booger.
said that. So with that being the
May
case,
2nd,
y'all gonna understand y'all a little something about Nakatani comes May 2nd.
Yeah, I know it's in Japan.
Yep.
That's part of the biggest fight in Japanese history. That one.
We gonna see if he really is just flash in the pan, or if that dude that he fought the last time showed that he really ain't like that, or if that Mickey Freaky the real deal.
Well, one of them, Cass, one of the biggest in Japanese history. Most people think like Inoue's the only Japanese fighter ever to exist.
Oh, no. Mm-mm. Had the fighting Geraldo.
Exactly.
Good ones. Good Japanese fighter. Mm-mm. Anyway, might not be the best Japanese fighter ever.
Facts.
You know? But
I
some
don't know if
people-
he's the best. I just think he's the most pushed. You know, he got a backing. He got a backing, and he's done a lot of things in the lower weight classes. So you know, people are real big on accomplishments.
And you know, time diminishes some fighters in some people's minds too. You go by, they forget, accomplishments of other fighters. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, Inoue's not even the most popular Japanese fighter of his era.
Who is that, Piro?
Ioka.
Yeah, Ioka. Mm-hmm. Kaoki. What was his name?
It's Something open.
I can't
Something open.
pronounce it. He had a nephew or something before too, didn't he? Or uncle or something like that.
An uncle.
Yeah, uncle. Right.
All these guys have got
Yeah.
like there's now Japan's got a big boxing lineage.
Oh yeah. For sure.
What you call it? Inoue's like the guy that like Inoue's promoter. Like he was big in his time. Ohashi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He lost the title to Ricardo Lopez.
Okay. Finito.
Yep.
El Finito. Yeah. Yeah, man. El Finito just fought it. If El Finito would have been a lightweight or a welterweight, man, he would be a household name, man.
Facts.
You know? So many people. But he fought way down.
Yeah,
there.
they just unfortunately usually populate the smaller divisions, and because of such, you know, they don't get the recognition they deserve.
And he ruled an entire decade. He just vacated at the end of it, but he could have been champion the entire decade. He moved up and became
Well,
champion.
I'm happy that we getting that fight. That's a good fight, man. Hopefully it plays out the way that I always envisioned it to play out, man. A very good fight and a super competitive until the end.
How you got it playing out, T Hill?
Well, it's hard to pick against Inoue, man. I'm not going to be disingenuous with it, man. I'm hoping that, you know, with that fight that old boy had, he recognized that, dog, any fight can be a difficult fight for you. And that if you expect him not to be difficult, then you're in trouble. So you got to prepare for everything. Now, Inoue does a lot of things that he can take advantage of. He just got to be willing to throw. But he has this little bounce step that when he does the bounce step, he does 3 punches. If you can pick the tip off on the punch he gonna do, you can shoot in between the punch and tear him up. I mean, but you know, he gotta be ready for it. So we'll see, man. I mean, like I say, man, if I had to pick a favorite, I would pick Inoue, but I'm picking Nakatani because that's just my guy.
Okay. What was you referring to, Al Booker said, isn't that also true about the monster? What was you referring to, Al Booker? That was also true about the monster.
Al Booker, hit that link, baby boy, real quick and tell us what you talking about.
You said, isn't it also
I
true?
put on and be easy.
Okay, Puro. Appreciate
you coming up, man. Appreciate you coming up. Booker, what you talking about, man? Come on and hit that button.
You gonna go ahead and pick Nakatani though, T? I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
Yeah, I'm still going with Nakatani. I'm not gonna change up on that. I think Nakatani got something special in him.
He's capable. Yeah. And
I think that if he hits you, he got the power to just not put him down, but to put him down for the count.
Say that. And anyway, down and got up. Nakatani could do it where he might not get up. Man.
Exactly. So I'm gonna stick with it. But I know that it's going to be a tough task, and I understand why he the favorite. I understand why Inoue is the favorite because he's the real deal. I think Nakatani is too.
Yeah, I believe so. I didn't know it was that close though. Damn, maybe second. Wow.
Yeah, it's true about him, but the difference is this.
Oh, there it is.
They've made a mission of trying to find a star over at PBC that they have tried to feature him. And so he's gotten more exposure than all the other ones. And I know you like Junto, but like I say, we gonna see for sure, man. We gonna see.
That is
because it could be Junto by round 7 through 10, dog. That's how special Junto can be, dog. So we gonna see.
Yeah, that's a good point, Albert. But that's very true also about the monster. Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that the monster has had he's had somebody from the States also push him. And because of that, we've gotten a little bit more exposure for him. Not as much for Nakatani, and Nakatani has been on there too.
Monster with Bob, with Top Rank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they collaborate with whoever promotes him out that way too. So they get a little bit of that luster that he produces. It's gonna be a great fight, man. I mean, like I say, man, Junto could go by the wayside, but he also could take him by the wayside.
I'm gonna circle May 2nd on my calendar.
Circle May 2nd, baby boy, because that's gonna be a goodie.
What network would you think that'll be on? That fight. It's a pay-per-view or Top Rank don't have a network.
They do now. They're working on the zone.
The Zone? Wow.
Yeah, they're working on the zone. They're working on getting that together. So, you know, that's probably gonna be their destination.
ESPN,
which may end up being better for them than ESPN too, man, because ESPN ain't really showed them no love. And on top of that, you know, ESPN know that there was collusion going on, man, and there was a lot of nefarious activities by the folks that was at ESPN or Top Rank. Yeah.
You know, ESPN don't really talk boxing other than if they're not showing a fight, you never hear about boxing on ESPN.
Yeah, so you might as well go.
Kind of boxing shows, you know?
Yeah, you might as well go where it's part of the thing. See, the zone gives you everything, and it gives you access to everything. So it might be a good move for them. And then on top of that, the moves that they made while they didn't have ESPN allow for them to also build reputations with streaming sites. So they did a pretty good job doing what they did. Yeah. And the thing is that I think in order for them to get that deal, though, they might have to give up that Xander Zayas fight for Boots, because they want Boots. DAZN wants Boots to fight on their network, and they want him to fight for big stakes. So they saying like, yeah, look, we'll broadcast your fights, but you got to give us Boots versus Xander, because you know Virgil ain't an option no more.
I think they'll fight eventually, one of these days.
So hopefully we get that fight too, man. So we get that fight so Boots can prove whether or not he's real or not, because a lot of people believe of him like they believe of, say, Nakatani.
Yeah.
Not really that special, just ain't been fighting nobody special. So we'll get to see if that's true or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just think this though, Cass. If they could do this to Top Rank and Bob Arum, you don't think that this stuff that's been happening with Tank has been deliberate, man?
Oh yeah, I always believe that, man. You know, they
slowing the hell out of PBC's like bank flow with not letting Tank fight, man. I think, man, you know, they need to get these nefarious characters up out of boxing that would do stuff like that, man.
I know
it's always been the case, but man, it's terrible.
Never as bad as it is. This time, this is even worse to me when the Mafia was happening in the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's even worse. I think they bring the Mafia back.
No, though, Kaz. Remember, there's some people out there. There's some bodies out there in the grounds over there in Vegas.
The Mafia at least was getting big names on a regular basis.
Yeah, they were. They were fixing the fights, but they were getting big names. Yes, you were right.
You fight each other. At least they was getting in there. Shit. But yeah, you right. These clowns in it now, man. Some of these people, man, it's just straight money.
Yeah, Booger said Virgil want to fight. He want to fight Earl and sue Oscar, dog. Like what's really going on? And you know, to me, man, it's sad. I think this is what I think, man, and I could be totally wrong. But I believe they conspired together to put this elaborate plan to go to a lawsuit so that way they could still keep the DAZN contract, because he wants to make it look like I want Virgil to fight Boots, but Boots can also get out of the fight and not fight Boots. So I think they did that just so he could keep the damn contract, man. That's what I think. Oh, your boy say he back. Puto say he back.
Yeah, just real quick, fellas, before I hang up again. I don't know if you guys heard Jermal's coming back.
Yeah, I heard against Resendez.
No, I didn't hear that. Wow. That's good.
Nope.
And the way Resendez looked against your boy, I mean, that should be a good fight.
It's good for boxing. Had the Charlo twins in it because they're always good for some publicity.
Well, I like Jermal. I really like Jermal. I think Jermal got elite talent. I think he has elite talent. I don't know where his head be at times, but his talent is there.
I mean, Jamel shouldn't have went up there messing with Canelo in the first place. He got paid, but you know.
I heard he wasn't even healthy, man.
Fight, man.
I heard he wasn't even healthy in that fight too. I don't know if that would have made a difference to say anything, but y'all, you can't go in the ring compromised against Canelo, dog.
He got paid.
He did get paid.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So hey, we gonna see, man. It's a good look for Jamal. Hopefully Jamal is back
Yeah, that's good.
healthy, and he can go out there and show the world that he still got special talent.
I love that.
Time has been slipping for folks, so it's good to see them get in the ring.
Yeah. So wow.
Yeah, man. But
who did Pharaoh say was against? I forgot already.
Resendez.
Resendez. Okay, that's a good
the one
number.
who dismantled Plant. He took Plant apart.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
man.
For him.
Yeah,
and
but
Jamal's
just
still undefeated too, right?
Jamal. Yeah.
Jamel got the loss.
Yeah, Jamel got the loss. He got 2 now.
Yeah, Canelo and
3. No, Jamel got 3. As a matter of fact,
he got Canelo.
No, 2. He got 2. He got just Canelo and
Tony Harrison.
Harrison, yeah.
Yeah, that's them 2.
I keep forgetting yeah, but it was a loss though. I ain't gonna lie. I gave that fight to
that one too. What's the guy's name? Argentine guy.
Oh my God. Castano, yeah.
Right.
I thought he won that first fight.
He should have been undisputed, man.
Yeah, he should have been. That was messed up. He should have been.
Undisputed don't come along that often, man,
Yeah, no. And the cool thing about it, man, I haven't seen Castaño since those 2 fights, bro. And he was a serious talent, man. He was a serious talent, but he got his bread, man. So when you get your bread,
and you live in those, Argentina to the dollar up here, he probably
because there it stretches a long way.
So
he don't need nothing. He probably got everything he needed. He probably got him a little gym, man, where he constantly. Yeah, he good, man. But that was a hell of a fight.
In those Mel fights, so he good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't blame
That's the one thing about boxing. If you can make it from a third world country or a country that isn't as exclusive as our country, man, you can make good money and you can be set.
You ain't got to get in and take that punishment.
You ain't got to take that punishment at all, man. So
I don't blame him at all.
That might be a good show topic, dog. People who was actually good and
just
had big fights and you never seen them for.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good one there too. Sure is. Castaño will be one of the main examples. I don't blame him. Man.
Castaño was a good fighter, a really good fighter.
At junior middleweight, just imagine him in there right now, man.
Yeah, that's why I don't know why he hasn't been fighting, man. He was a great fighter. But that being the case, man, I know it's time for you to go. I appreciate you bringing me up here so we could chop it up, man.
Always.
Definitely check out that fight, man. I think I'll send you the link so you can actually look at it. And man, that whole card was nice. The whole card was, for sure. But shout out to my man Porto Sua for coming up. Shout out Al Booger as always, the prototype professor, the professor prototype, the better half, Miss BTS. Shout out. I'm pretty sure Mike Ram was in the house. I always know him in there. Mike Mazik too, because he always comes in support. Azim Shabazz, I'm pretty sure he was in here. Bruce Gas, I know he always stops by. Technique, I know he's one that steps by, and some other people that usually come through, man. Shout out to anybody who catches this on the playback. You know what I'm saying? Do yourselves a great favor and sub up. Always hit the like button. And man, the Cash App, it still rolls through the screen, man. If you enjoy what you hear and you appreciate it, show your love and support by banging that Cash App. It's $CAS 2878, all capitals, all big numbers. And if you ever want to feel like coming up and chopping, whenever he puts that link, you always welcome to tap it. We talk respectful. We don't argue. We discuss. And we enjoy. So we enjoy to hear people's takes, man. You guys come up here, bang that link, go up there, give us what you think, and we're going to talk and we're going to discuss it. We're going to see where we can meet in the middle. Just case in point, man, we had a topic about Inoue versus Nakatani. Many people believe Inoue is going to just walk through Nakatani. respectfully, that could happen. But there also is a chance that that might not happen. And that's what boxing is, man. Sometimes you expect the unexpected. Sometimes you don't expect what is unexpected. You're going to get what you get in that ring, and that's the truth. So hopefully we get to see more truth bear out in the ring instead of out here on these YouTube streets. And that's what you get here. You only get nothing but pure, unadulterated boxing from every aspect of the sport. You get that only with the Boxtorian, Cash Sports. He is 2 o'clock shorty. He comes on Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, man. You guys have a wonderful day, man, and God bless.